Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Well, I could be indelicate. Nature was calling. So figure that's the best advice that somebody ever gave me before going up on stage. Make sure you take care of business backstage or somewhere. All right. Sounds good. Awesome. Hopefully you can hear the guitar too. Got the Strat out again. Yeah, I thought I'd post that video for you guys already knew about it, but I thought I'd post that video this morning for those of people who didn't hear it and or who didn't know and was wondering, hey, what's this guy who hates Strats all of a sudden is playing a Strat? So I am really super happy that the neck seems to be coming back in and I'm getting used to it. So anyway, having some fun. Let me say hi to everybody. So hi, Garrett. Hi, Matt. Always good to see both of you. David Smith. Hey, good to see you as usual. Nemo Unknown. Good to see you again. I remember that one time when you said you were going to be able to make it for a while. You seem to be here all the time. I appreciate it for sure. TBA, good morning to you. McDon BR, good morning. All right. GMAC, hey, you made it at the allotted time. ML, good to see you. Okay. Birthday celebrations last week were fabulous. It was really interesting. We had, my son's at this age where he's 19, right? So I'm the biggest idiot in the world, of course. And I'm guessing by maybe age 24, he'll realize maybe I had something to say that was okay. But anyway, he's got a good heart. It's interesting is the in-laws came over and we were having like a brunch or something like that. And he wanted to go to his friend's house and he rather sheepishly asked if he could skip dessert to go over there. It was kind of cute. All right. Anyway, whose birthday is it this week? My kids, I have two kids. They were both the last 2 weeks. Hey, good morning, Frank and Electronic Tin. Good to see you as well. All right. Yeah, Garrett, TBA, I feel exactly the same thing. I think what Mark Twain said was something about my father was the most amazing person. When I was 17, he knew absolutely nothing. And somehow by the time I turned 21, he learned a great deal. So anyway, Robbie Love, hi to you. Stevie Ray, hello to you as well. All right. Well, I figure we'll just do a few things. I want to warm up with just a little bit of improving to, I don't know, fool around with my girl or something like that. So let's hear how it goes. Kind of digging these Strat sounds, get into the rhythm. Enough. Enough. All right, just having a little fun, getting some nice stratty sounds on this one. All right, well, I thought today we'd take just a little bit of time to talk a little bit about drones and stuff like that. We're not talking about the unmanned flights and all that kind of stuff. So drones are used all the time in music, and they're very common in like Indian music, or I mentioned bagpipes. Bagpipe, that's what it is. You're constantly pushing on that pipe, and you're basically just blowing into the bag to keep it full and pulling on the pipe. So pulling on the pipe, that sounds a little bit weird. Anyway, but they can happen in guitar as well, and they're really kind of important. A lot of the stuff we just don't even know. So I just kind of maybe we don't realize all the time. So I just kind of go over some of those, raise the guitar up just a little bit so we can see, and kind of go over them. So we can either do the bottom strings. We'll do a real quick lesson. We'll do a quiz, and then we'll talk a little bit, answer some of your questions. So, we're just kind of let me get a little distortion on this. Just a little bit of gain. All right, so, we're not even used to a lot of the drones. It's very common, though. It's one of the most common things on the guitar is to play the open A or whatever, or the open E. And so, with a boogie, that's what we're used to playing, right? That's really a drone. We're droning that E, or that E note, or the A, right? And it can be done in, that's kind of a rock or a boogie sort of thing. The Ted Nugent line is pretty common. Right, that's pretty common. But I think there's a lot of folks who, there's some other ways that you can do it, maybe more melodically, by kind of traveling up on the same string. You can use a lot of slides and stuff like that. And, maybe we'll cover some of that stuff just briefly. But, if we use some of the, instead of just the minor pentatonic, we can use. We can kind of slide and do that kind of stuff like that. The sound that comes to mind is something like. That kind of stuff with the within you, without you, which makes me think of like the Mixolydian type of sound. Even though I'm not sure whether there's a guitar drone in that, when you're playing it, you certainly can do that. Yeah, Eric Johnson does it a ton. Van Halen. One of my favorites, Andy Timmons, uses it all the time. All the time. Yeah, and that's a couple of them. So we can do that on the bottom strings. It's easy to do it. We can do it on the bottom strings. It's also common to use a drone on the top string, the top E string, like, right, like in Pride and Joy, that's in that. But there's lots of songs that use that. Billy Idol does that, I think, right? I forget which song that is, but it certainly can be used in like in Pride and Joy. Won't play that again, but we've done that a bunch of times. So it can be used there. A little less common is the drone, like on the second string, like in, say, this is going to be really hard for me because I still have not mastered picking with the Strat. It's still it feels so close, and I hit that center pickup. But I'll mess up. I'll try not to mess up too much, but this one I'm sure you'll recognize. Right, the Thunderstruck, right, uses a lot of that, and that's kind of a drone on the second string, which is a little bit weird. And then kind of my favorite stuff, some of my favorite stuff is actually droning on the middle strings. This is often done with acoustic, and it's going to sound a little bit weird because I've got just a little bit of overdrive on this, but right, yeah. So there's definitely that, or like you know, stuff like you know, John Frusciante does a lot of this kind of. You know, that kind of stuff, where that's really a drone where you're droning the D string. Sometimes people play it like this, right? I can't quite do that yet, but anyway, so there's that. Yeah, and then, you know, people were saying the pedal notes as well. You know, that kind of stuff can be done, but and used as kind of a top drone as well. So there's a lot of really good, I think there's a lot of really good songs that are like that. Kind of two of my most favorite ones are I think somebody already mentioned Disneyland, but I'm going to mention that as well because Michael Gurley and Dada are probably, in my opinion, the most underrated group of the 90s. Michael Gurley's got some great play, but I'll see if I can do that one. You know, it's just something like that. And it's using that D string. Let me turn down the distortion a little bit. That's another neat little thing that he's doing. So you'll notice that it tends to be very vertical or horizontal across the neck, a lot of these sorts of play. Another one of my favorites is this one. I'll see if I can remember it. Is and this was a hit. Yeah. Oh yeah, somebody's mentioned Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. That's got that stuff all over that, and that's one of the things that you can do. You can tune the strings a little bit differently to get a lot of that stuff. But anyway, so those are just some of the simple things I think when you're playing it on electric that you can do. You tend to play on the same strings and move a lot vertically. Yeah, a lot of the old folk rockers did a lot of droning, not in their singing, but in their play. Joni Mitchell has a lot of that stuff, and a lot of them are playing in open tuning, so they can do that sort of stuff. And Stephen Stills, of course, used it a ton. I saw him live once, and it was before I realized he did some different tunings, and I was just really shocked at what he could do. And a lot of it was just really driving and rhythmic. And that's one of the reasons I love Andy Timmons so much, is that he's got that rhythmic sound. You know, that kind of stuff, where he's using those open. You know, he's doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and just amazing. If you, one thing I really love about Andy Timmons is he's clearly an old rock and roll fan, and so there's a ton of Hendrix and there's a ton of the Beatles in his play. So it's a lot of fun listening to his stuff. In fact, I think he did all of Sgt. Pepper's instrumentally, and that's got a ton of open notes and stuff like that. So yeah, there's just so many different places where it's used. It's a really great effect to use the open stuff. Somebody's saying landslide. I didn't know that. It makes sense though, because Leslie oh geez, what's his name? Not Leslie. Who was a guitar player for Fleetwood Mac? Not Peter Green, not the old one. What's his name? I can't remember. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that. He's really good. Yeah, Collective Soul does a lot of that stuff, Elf. Lindsey Buckingham. Thank you, Lindsey Buckingham. Run Like Hell. Yeah, for sure. Some of the Keith stuff. It makes sense that Keith uses a lot of droning stuff. But anyway. All right. Well, I figured we could talk, or I figured we could talk about a couple of things here. I've got a brief quiz. I knew it was going to be a pretty short, sort of lesson-y place. Leslie Buckingham was his twin sister. That's pretty funny. So David Smith, I haven't seen Andy Timmons live. I'd love to see Andy Timmons live. Love it. And Garrett, if you haven't heard his Sgt. Pepper stuff, it's incredible. And even though I know it's a different album, he has a bonus where he does Strawberry Fields, and it is shockingly good. And one of the things that really comes out, or that I love about it, is that the Beatles songs still really come out in it. I mean, just the simple melodies, and they really kind of show that it doesn't matter what idiom you play them in, they're just great. So great stuff. All right, one of those days. Okay, yeah, it's fun. It's good stuff. All right, so let's do the quick quiz. Remember, this one's just for fun. I'm so far behind doing the request stuff. I've got to stop that for a while, so it's just for fun for now. Fun chats. What if you woke up one day knowing all the Beatles songs, but nobody else did? Has anybody seen that movie? What's it called? Yesterdays or something? Has anybody seen that movie? I heard it wasn't that good. Oh, it just came out yesterday? Okay. It just came out yesterday. I haven't seen Rocket Man either, but it did inspire this quiz, because I talked to my cousin, same cousin who sold me this, same friend who's also my cousin, sold it this Strat. He had seen Rocket Man and loved it, although he said factually it's really pretty bad, but he still liked it anyway. All right. Let's give this let's give the quiz a try. This is inspired by that. These are songs that have to do with celestial objects or celestial things. Okay. Let me just say there's a lot of a particular singer in this one. It was hard not to put him in. Okay. According to Bowie, he's waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. Garrett with Starman, McDon BR, Starman. Don't bother with Rocket Man. Starman, Matt. G-Mac, Ziggy Stardust. No, it's Starman. Okay, so somebody's asking about maple fretboards over rosewood. I like them both. They're both different. I have to say, I do like maple fretboards. I have a maple fretboard on my Les Paul, and I love it. Okay, yeah, it's the it's torrefied or whatever. It's baked maple. If I don't like that, I can have it for dessert. Okay, anyway, Starman, David Smith, Stevie Ray, good stuff. A lot of people getting that one. Okay, I will say there's a few hard ones. That was a bunny. That was an easy one. Okay, the rock group with Grace Slick, Marty Ballin, Mickey Thomas, Craig Chiquico, and Paul Kantner. That's right, Jefferson Starship. There was also Starship later, and it was Jefferson Airplane before. So somebody was asking, have I ever played an ebony fingerboard? I have. They're okay. They feel very hard to me, like maple does as well. All right. I had an ebony fretboard on a Parker guitar that I had a long time ago. Okay. One day you'll look to see I've gone, for tomorrow may rain, so. One day you'll look to see I've gone, for tomorrow will rain, so I'll follow the sun. That's funny, Elf. Jefferson's with Wheezy. Garrett and TBA and Robbie Love and One Toby Cat. Hey, One Toby Cat, good to see you. Ron Shack, good to see you. Pack an umbrella. So pack an umbrella. Ron's always got these droll answers. Stevie Ray. G-Max moving on up. Okay. Here's a tougher one. This is a Bowie song in which the girl with the mousy hair is asked to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look at the lawman beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if he'll ever know he's in the freakiest show. Is there blank? McDon BR has got it. Life on Mars. That's right. One of my favorite Bowie songs. Love that song. It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair. Beautiful, beautiful chorus on that one. It's sad, too. Okay, here we go. I'm starting to weep, so I better move on. Life on Mars. That was Life on Mars, David Bowie. Okay. Def Leppard song from 1987 references other songs: Jack Flash, Rocket Man, Sgt. Pepper and the Band, Ziggy, Benny and the Jets. I'll be your yeah. That's right. G-Mac gets it with Rocket. Rocket. That's got a cool intro. I like the guitar intro on Rocket. Yeah, Def Leppard song from 1987 referencing other songs from Hysteria. That's right. Ron Shack gets it. McDon BR. EB show of the same name is a great series. Life on Mars. Oh, is that right? I'll have to see it. I will have to see it. Okay. Here we go. Next one. She's got it, baby. She's got it. I'm your fire, your desire. What song? Ooh, she's got it, baby. She's got it. That's right. McDon BR. I'm your Venus. I'm your fire. That's your desire. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Good. A lot of people getting it. Ron Shack, Elf Hermie, Mark Siebes, Nemo Unknown, G-Mac, ML, David Smith, TBA, Studio Deluxe. Hey, Studio Deluxe. Good to see you. Stevie Ray, Robbie Love, remake. Oh, who did the remake? Bananarama or something? Yeah. Both. That's an interesting thing. Both of those became a #1 hit. Shocking Blue originally did it. Shocking Blue. Okay. That's actually a good guitar riff. I like that guitar riff. All right. Anyway, don't go round tonight. It's bound to take your life. Why? Oh, it's too bad, Frank. Yeah, but you're in Mexico. So there's a bad moon rising. That's right. Or there's a bathroom on the right. I'm not sure. McDon BR, Geert, Mark Siebes, GMAC, TBA, Elf, ML, Robbie Love, One Toby Cat, David Smith, Stevie Ray, Ron Shack, Frank. I know you got that one. Nemo and Drink Tequila. All right. These are kind of easy today, huh? Well, just wait. Okay, Pink Floyd album exploring greed, death, and mental illness. Pink Floyd album exploring greed, death, and mental illness. Dark Side of the Moon. You got it. All of them. Yeah, all of them except this. If you've gotten the theme is celestial objects. So this one's Dark Side of the Moon. Okay, this one is Dark Side of the Moon. Or if you will, it's the one with Breathe on it. Okay, there we go. Okay. He is the guitarist in the group that includes the Spiders from Mars. He is the guitarist in the group that contains the Spiders from Mars. Mick Ronson is one answer that is acceptable. So is Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy Stardust is the guitarist in the song, but Mick Ronson is the guitarist in real life. So both are cool. Both are cool. Very unsung hero of guitar, I think. Yeah. All right. Okay, this one may be tough for some of us. It would have been impossible for me. This is a recent Coldplay hit from 2014's album Ghost Stories. It's about a heavenly view. A recent Coldplay hit from 2014's album Ghost Stories about a heavenly view. Hey, Gib. Good to see you. Fix You. My Coldplay knowledge is nil. I really only know one song, and that's Viva La Vida. All right, nobody's getting this one. Goes to show me my audience, right? Not surprising. I get it. You know, there's like no guitar in the song either, so screw them. It's called Sky Full of Stars. All right. Called Sky Full of Stars. Isn't the singer married to somebody famous? I think he is, or was. Okay, back to, let's get back to Earth here. #1 hit from Tapestry. It's the A side of It's Too Late. Oh, was married to Gwyneth Paltrow. Not anymore, huh? Okay. Okay, that's right. I thought I remembered that. Okay, this is a #1 hit from Tapestry. It's the A side to It's Too Late. Uncoupled. Okay. Oh, hey, Jeffrey. Good to see you. You didn't know the Coldplay one. I am shocked. You're supposed to know that one. That's right. TBA, I Feel the Earth Move. That's right. I Feel the Earth Move Under My Feet. Right? Carole King's song. That was actually the A side to It's Too Late. It was released as the single, but then It's Too Late got all the airplay, so they said it's a double A side. Yeah. I feel the sky tumbling down. Like how she says that. It's kind of good. Okay. A singer and Van Morrison's wife in the early 1970s. You were racking your brain for Tapestry. Yeah, I fooled you on that one, huh? Okay, not trying to, though. Singer and Van Morrison's wife in the early 70s. Gloria is a good answer. Oh, Geert gets it. Janet Planet. Janet Planet. That's right. Janet Planet. Divorced in 1973, but she's on the cover of Tupelo Honey. Okay. I see. I told you some of these were not going to be totally easy. Okay, here's an English rock band formed in 1968. Features Michael Schenker on guitar. English rock band formed in 1968 featuring Michael Schenker on guitar. No, it was Elf. It wasn't her real name. Janet Wrestling or something like that, or Riesling. UFO. A lot of people getting UFO. That's right. GMAC, McDon BR. Scorpions was what Michael Schenker founded later, but UFO is the original one that he was with, or the original one that hit. Okay, let's go. Beach Boys song written the day of the JFK assassination, released in 1964. It's the B-side to Dance, 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 a rich song in the vein of God Only Knows. What good is the dawn that grows into the day, sunset at night, or living this way? Beach Boys song written on the day of the JFK assassination. Remember, it's about celestial objects. This is a tough one. Here's a hint. The Beach Boys did a lot of... There you go. Elf, you didn't let me down. Elf, Hermie, and Geert, I was expecting you guys to get that one right away. Warmth of the Sun, one of their earliest ones with interesting and different chord changes. And that's got a beautiful melody, I think. Okay, back to an easier one. Yeah, but you know what, Garrett, I'm seeing you're not a Beach Boys fan, but you should be, because McCartney was pretty influenced by the Beach Boys. Listen to She's Leaving Home. Total Brian Wilson song. All right. Let's see. In this song, some people call him Maurice, or the Pompatus of Love. What's the song? Okay, Kieran. Mark Siebes, Space Cowboy. Right. Space Cowboy. All right. All right. Kokomo is as far as I go. That is pretty funny. Some people call him Maurice. All right. Space Cowboy. All right. Giant steps are what you that's the Joker, right? Yeah, the Joker is something that's the Joker, right? But some people also call him the Space Cowboy, right? Okay. Let's see. Giant steps are what you take in this Police song. Oh, Mark Siebes already getting it. And Geert and GMAC walking on the moon. Somebody get me a cheeseburger. Okay. Okay. All right. Virtuoso rock guitar instrumental that was a hit album and song from 1987. A virtuoso rock guitar instrumental that was a hit album and song from 1987. Remember, this is about space, right? And objects in it. GMAC coming up with the answer. Surfing with the Alien. Joe Satriani. A lot of people hold him up like way, way up in the stratosphere of guitarists. I personally don't, but I don't like his style, but he's obviously a great player. All right. But that's his most famous stuff. All right. I'm not saying he's no good, okay? Don't rag me for that. All right. Let's see. Psychedelic rock jazz instrumental on Are You Experienced? Psychedelic rock jazz instrumental from Are You Experienced? Hey, James Stowers, good to see you. Satriana. Look. Little Wing, nope. Third Stone from the Sun. You got it. Studio Deluxe. Nemo, Unknown, Third Rock from the Sun. Close enough. I think that was the TV show, right? Yeah. Yeah. Third Stone from the Sun, right? It uses all those octaves and it's kind of a real fuzzy guitar. Yeah. Good song. I think Little Wings on Axis Bold as Love. Angels later. Okay. All right. Song that says, but tell me, did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see the lights all faded and that heaven is overrated? Song by Train. Huge hit for them. James Wingard getting it. Drops of Jupiter. Drops of Jupiter. GMAC. Stevie Ray getting one question back. Jupiter something drops up to Jupiter. I think you get the picture, right? We're trying to hit all of these things. Okay. All right, here's one for you Queen fans. It's the Queen album with the hit Under Pressure on it. It's the one that Under Pressure appeared on. Which Queen album did Under Pressure appear on? Mint Julep. Ooh, tough one. I know there were a couple of people who were Queen fans who were on a while ago. L for me getting it with Hot Space. David Smith, Hot Space. Yep. Okay. High space, hot space. Close enough. All right. A few people getting that one. Gaudy colors on. Yeah, that's right. It did have really gaudy, well, really hot colors, right? It's got a few nice songs. Cool Cat's kind of fun. There's a couple of other nice songs, but for the most part, Under Pressure is a fantastic song. All right. Let's see. I don't have to convince you guys. All right. Here's a bunny. Who says Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids? Who says Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids? Elton John or Rocket Man is acceptable. A lot of people getting this one. GMAC, Mark Siebes, Elf, McDon BR, Robbie Love, David Smith, Studio Deluxe. Syrian fan, hello from Germany. I have my Strat here today. Let's see if I can pull this off. I have my Strat on here today, my new Strat, which now is Strat. It's a strapless Strat now. Okay. Kim Jong. Oh gosh. Okay. Reggie Dwight. Oh, David Smith coming in with the inside one there. Okay. All right. Inside answer there. Okay. Huge hit for Van the Man. It's a fantabulous night for it. A huge hit for Van the Man. It is a fantabulous night for this. Geert with Moondance, GMAC, McDon BR, Mark Siebes, Robbie Love, David Smith, Elf. All right. All right. So we did the Coldplay one. This one's kind of similar, but for maybe us oldsters. Every now and then I fall apart is a constant line from this 1980s hit from Bonnie Tyler. Every now and then I fall apart is a constant line from this 1980s hit from Bonnie Tyler. That's McDon BR almost got it. Total Eclipse of the Heart. GMAC, you got it. Elf, ML, Eclops. That's right. And McDon BR, he said constantly in that "Turn Around Bright Eyes." I think that was a subtitle or something. "Turn Around Bright Eyes." All right, Frank. See you next week, buddy. Emo Unknown, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Dark Side of the Moon. All right. Is that right? Okay, Al for me. That's good to know. It's a good karaoke songs. Yeah, that's right. It's a Heartache's kind of good. She's got that Rod Stewart sort of rasp. All right. Okay, let's see. What's Cat Stevens being followed by? What's Cat Stevens being followed by? Moonshadow, Mark Siebes. McDon BR, Geert, TBA, David Smith, Robbie Love, ML, all getting it. All right. Yeah, Mark Siebes, Betty Davis Eyes was Kim Carnes, but she also has that raspy type of things. That raspy type of thing. All right. Let's see. Okay. This is one of my. I love this song by Stevie Wonder. It's a message song, and it says, "I'm going." It's off of, I think, Songs in the Key of Life. So I'm giving you a lot on this one. I'm going back to blank where the rings all glow, rainbow, moonbeams, and orange snow. On blank, people live to be 205. Going back to blank where people smile, don't need cars because we've learned how to fly. On blank, just to live is our natural high. Any thoughts? It's not Mars. We've hit life on Mars, we've hit Jupiter, we've hit Venus. It's none of those, but it's close. It's not Pluto. it's it's on Songs in the Key of Life. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's called Saturn. That's right. Mark Siebes got it. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's good. It's good construction. Stevie Wonder at his best, I think. All right. All right, let's move on to a new one. Let the Sunshine, repeated over and over, ends this song about a coming age. Let the Sunshine, repeated over and over, ends this song about a coming age. That's right, Aquarius, Elf, TBA, Studio Deluxe, Geert, Nemo Unknown, Robbie Love, McDon BR, David Smith. All right, a lot of people getting those. Yes, and Geert and GMAC. Pluto is not considered a planet anymore. It's part of the Van Allen belt, I guess. A planetoid. All right. Fifth dimension. Yeah. All right. Okay. This is a thing I saw coming out of the sky. It had one long horn and one big eye. Van Halen belt. All right. This is a thing I saw coming out of the sky. It had one long horn and one big eye. Very funny, David. David Smith, that is hilarious. L for me coming up with Purple People Eater. TBA, Purple People Eater. Greg A. Shumate. Hey, good to see you, Greg Shumate. I haven't seen you on before. Good to have you. McDon, one-eyed, longhorn, something purple, flying purple people eater. It's my mother-in-law, Ron. Come on now. Okay. Song by the Birds, whimsical meditation on extraterrestrial life. Won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. This is a song by the Birds, a whimsical meditation on extraterrestrial life. Won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Mr. Spaceman. Yeah, GMAC, I should have asked the thing about 8 Miles High too, but it's Mr. Spaceman. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Yeah, it's kind of a goofy song. Let's move on. Okay. All right, I think this is going to be the last one that's hard for you guys. We'll get some easy ones after this. This is a chart-topping Muse album from 2006. It's an album by Muse, 2006. It contains the hits Starlight and Nights of Sidonia. The title was just too good not to include. A chart-topping Muse album from 2006. That's right. Who? Muse actually has some good guitar playing. It's different. It's different. Space Dementia. Muse. That's right. I don't know too much about him. I wouldn't have gotten it. Matt Bellamy. Yeah. The album is called Black Holes and Revelations. I don't know if it's any good or not, but it did really well. All right. Here we go. King Harvest and Thin Lizzy did different songs with the same name title. It was a big hit for King Harvest. King Harvest and Thin Lizzy both did songs with the same. They did different songs, but with the same title. Both. It was a big hit for King Harvest. David Smith, getting it. Dancing in the Moonlight. I knew Geert would get it. Dancing in the Moonlight. GMAC, McDon BR, Dancing in the Moonlight. Hey, you know who's not here today is Fenderman 73. Otherwise, he'd be answering every one of these as well. Charted in the UK. Is that right? You mean the Thin Lizzy version, David? All right. Okay, let's get to 2 more questions. This was a huge 1990 from Yacht Rock Radio. All right. Yes. This was a huge 1990s grunge hit, very Beatles influenced. Won't you come and wash away the rain? It has a lyric. It says, won't you come, won't you wash away the rain? A very heavy chorus, features a chimey guitar in the verse. Yes, Robbie Love, getting it. Black Hole Sun, Mark Siebes, GMAC. That's right. Black Hole Sun. Soundgarden, I think. Yeah, Soundgarden song. Love that song. I don't know what it is about that song. It's like the melody is really odd, and the heaviness of it is good. And it's just so Lennon influenced. I think it's I don't know. I think that Chris Cornell, who's the singer, I think he must have listened to "Happiness Is a Warm Gun" right before that, right before he sang the lyric. Yeah, that Leslie speaker sounds really cool. I'm not a huge 90s rock fan, but I love that song. I think it's a great one. Frampton redid it. No kidding. That seems to make sense for Frampton, actually. I like that. Okay, last question. Song in which Major Tom calls ground control. Song in which Major Tom calls ground control. Geert, getting it. Space Oddity. Robbie Love, Space Oddity. McDon BR, Mark Siebes, GMAC, Ron Shack, David Smith, Elf. A lot of people getting this one today. Matt, Studio Deluxe. All right. Well, Across the Universe, and I didn't do Venus and Mars either, right? Or, yeah, I just didn't do it. Hey, it's all fuzzy all of a sudden. There it goes. Yeah, I should have done Across the Universe and Venus and Mars. Oh, well. Venus, at least Across the Universe. All right. Anyway, so there we go. There's our quiz for the day. And there we go. So I thought maybe we have a few minutes left. We can... you should have asked about Freddie Mercury. Oh, man, that was great. Nemo Unknown. Where were you last night when I was making up the quiz? Those are awesome. I love that one. Freddie Mercury. That's great. That's awesome. All right. Well, anyway, so Space Ace just finished 2 covers, which should be out this fall. Speaking of Space, the original Space Ace just finished 2nd covers. I don't know what that is. Elf, what is that? What kind of Black Star amp do you have? Oh, Ace Frehley. Got it. So GMAC, I've got 3 Black Star amps. And I've had tube amps my whole life, and I can't lift them anymore. I don't have any tube amps anymore. They're gone. And so I have 3. I have a Black Star TVP, Black Star ID TVP 30. So it's 30 watt, 30 watt. True TVP is true valve power. It's a solid state though. And then I have an ID Core 10 for a bedroom amp. That's just a little practice amp. And then I have for travel, I have the Black Star Fly 3. And the Fly 3 is great. I love them all. I like the sounds that I get from them. They sound very tube-like, and they're so easy to dial in, and the effects are pretty good. And it's just a hell of a lot easier lifting them up. So anyway, most amps are too. I agree. I think Garrett, I think most amps are far too loud, and they don't need to be. 15 watt amp is fine. 15. Maybe not for a giant large show for a stadium or something like that, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me. I remember when the Fender GMAC, it says GMAC says I'm not a tube snob. I use a Fender Mustang most of the time. I remember when that Fender Mustang came out. I went to the music store, not to play that, but to play the ZT the ZT Lunchbox maybe, and because it was a small amp and I wanted to get a ton of power out of it. And the guy showed me the Fender Mustang. I was like, holy moly, this is pretty good. And but it still sounded a little bit dead compared to me. It sounded like, that it didn't sound the same as a tube, but to me, Black Star sounds close enough when I first heard those. And there's a couple of them now that are good. And as long as they have a decent clean sound, I'm okay with it. Can't seem to type fast enough. It's making me mad. I'm sorry, Matt. Ron's got his Orange 150. Yeah, Orange makes some good stuff. They tend to. I didn't get Orange because I couldn't find one that had a decent enough clean sound for me, but I like them. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just sort of what you get comfortable with. I'm really comfortable dialing in the sound on those Black Stars. I love they have this ISF button or a knob. It stands for Infinite Shape Function, and it's supposed to take you from sort of a Fender sound, pure Fender, to pure Marshall. They say British and American, or American and British, but it really helps me dial in that sound a lot. Xantana 100 watt. I don't know that one. Jazz Chorus clean sound. Yeah, it's great. Jazz Chorus is known for that clean sound for sure. I mean, I had a Fender Twin forever, and that was a beautiful clean. I'll tell you, I had, I still have it. I haven't gotten rid of it. I have a Lab Series L. Is it the L9? It's whatever is the one with the giant speaker. It has a 115. It's the same one that B.B. King used, and it has an unbelievable amount of clean headroom. And once I got that, I didn't use anything else. I even stopped using my Fender Twin even a while ago. But it's still hard to move around. At least it had casters on it, so I could roll it, which was nice. Yeah. So some people like the PV Viper for those modeling amps. I haven't. I've used a few. I've played a few Spite Line 6s, and I didn't love them. Fender Champ, okay. Oh, that's right. The Vox makes those VT. Those are supposed to be like sort of. Don't they? Doesn't Vox make something that's got like a tube preamp? I think it has a tube preamp, but then the main amplifier is solid state. What do they call it? Hybrid or hybrid technology? Yeah, there you go. Sam W. That's right. Yeah. I like that idea. I like that idea for sure. You know, the thing is, I mean, amps are made for it's made for us to be like discerning people about it, because I think we're the only ones who care. I've never heard anybody talk about how, you know, the sound, and anybody who was up dancing on the dance floor saying, "Oh, this sounds great, but it'd be even better with a tube amp." You know, I've never heard anybody say that. Yeah, I love the Blues Junior and the Blues Deluxe, and they're great amps. A little bit dirty on the tubes. I like that. A hybrid custom 30 with 12AX7. Okay, sold it. Yeah, sounds nice. Uh huh. I see. So I'm reading Geert's comment. Actually, I really like some of the sounds of my DAW. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're playing live though, you got to play through something, right? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think in the studios they're using more and more electronic stuff. I think it's eventually just going to go that way. That's my personal feeling. Or maybe it never will, because guitar music is kind of on its way out too. Oh, did I just say that? I think it is though. Um, you know, you just, I mean, I mentioned the thing about Coldplay, right? So this is a 2014 song, so now it's 5 years old song, huge hit. I know they have a guitarist in their band. I swear I can't hear a guitar in that song, and that's pretty typical now. You know, how about Lady Gaga, Poker, Katy Perry? I never hear any guitars. Yeah, I know, it's a bummer. It's a bummer, but you know, I mean, guitars stayed around for a long time as lead instruments. I mean, for the longest time, they were just rhythm instruments, right? Just played for the background, and it really was these guys, you know, Charlie Christian and Django, but to a larger extent, Charlie Christian, who first amplified it, and they started playing what the horns were doing. Horns and saxophone were the lead instruments because they were loud, you know, violin. So groups with the guitars are on their way out. Well, you know, I'd be happy to be super wrong. I'd love it if guitars came back like they did in the 90s, right? I mean, I remember the 80s, like the whole new wave thing. I mean, there were exceptions, right? The Cars were the beginning, and the Knack were sort of the beginning of the new wave. B-52s, Devo, uh, and stuff like that. But and Tommy Two Tone, you know, that was in the beginning. But by the middle of it, or by the end of it, it was more like Aha and Duran Duran, and that was just not very guitar oriented stuff. It was very synth oriented. And then of course the 90s came along, and guitar came back. I don't count a lot of the big hair bands. They were around a long time, but they were really not all that pop. I guess, you know, stuff like Def Leppard, and it never really left. So hopefully it comes back, you know. Yeah, I hate to say this, but a lot of people really rag on her, and I'm not happy that she did the crossover into pop. But Taylor Swift actually played guitar, right? And influenced a lot of girls to play guitar, to pick up the guitar. She's not Eddie Van Halen, but she got a lot of people to play guitar. And that's a good thing. It's a real instrument, and, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything since she went over to pop. My daughter used to like Taylor Swift, so that's why I would listen to it. I was like, hey, at least our songs are composed and they sound like real songs, and she's actually playing it. Yeah, I agree. Garrett. I like the songwriting, but not necessarily the styles. What is Philip Sace's argument, Mark Siebes? He's a good player. Greta Van Vliet. Well, but Greta Van Vliet is really a copy band. I mean, they're not, but they kind of copy a sound. They're a throwback. They're not doing. I don't see them doing. They're doing new versions of older music, and that's fine. It's really cool. I don't come down and get upset at them, but I don't see them making a statement, like a pop statement, like, say, the Stones did. And look, it's okay. People still listen to jazz. There's probably more jazz fans today than there were in the 60s in terms of total number. And so I don't think rock is going to disappear, but it's going to be a niche. It won't be the mainstream. Oh, I see. Oh, that's good. Well, Mark, I'll have to look up Philip Sace's argument. What's the gist of his argument for the resurgence of guitar? Led Van Vliet. Samantha Fish. Yeah, Samantha Fish is great. But again, she's a throwback artist, like Tedeschi Trucks and all that. She's a throwback artist. Is she really creating? It's new music. It's fine. It's great. I love it. But it's not like, say, Led Zeppelin was in 1969, right? It was new sound. Not everybody can be new. It's not a knock on everybody. Not everybody can be Led Zeppelin. Or whomever. Insert your favorite. The Who in 1965, or the Beatles in 62, 63, or the Stones in 65, or Frampton in 74, or Santana in 70. Okay, you get my picture. You get my drift. Okay. Well, Mark Siebes, I'm going to look it up because I would love to have the opposite opinion. I really would. I'd love to have the opposite opinion that this stuff that guitar music is going to come back and all that. And that, speaking of this, Joe Bonamassa would have been huge 30 years ago, but he wouldn't have been Joe Bonamassa, in my opinion, because he wouldn't have been able to play all the Jeff Beck licks and all the Eric Johnson licks and all the Albert Lee licks, and all the Stevie Ray Vaughan licks that he plays. If you're just tuning into me and my opinion on Joe Bonamassa, welcome to it. I think Joe's a great player. He seems like a heck of a guy, and I hope he creates his own voice someday. It feels like, and he's a monster technician. Clearly cares a lot about it, which is great. And I hope somehow that all gels together and he creates his own voice on the instrument. I'd love that. Eventually, there's a new wave of guitar music. The old genres will feel new to the next generation. Still can't see a 13-year-old girl jamming to some stanky blues anytime soon. Well, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, if there were a different creation, right? I mean, if you think of rock was sort of this thing that came along because of the influences of jazz and skiffle and this other stuff. It's basically and sort of a simplified jazz, right? In jump blues. And you had the syncopated stuff, and it made it a straight four so that it was a little more acceptable to ordinary people and easier to understand. And guitar was easy to play that thing. And of course you had Chuck Berry kind of leading the way. But I mean, honestly, blues-based music and that whole blues major minor trick, basically, and the syncopation has been playing in popular music now for 100 years in Western music. And that kind of that clash between classical and that is run a long course. Good stuff. Let's see. Bottom, Glenn Hughes, ML, everybody have a great day. Okay, ML, see you later, buddy. See you later. Sam W's right, but the girls will grow up. Alabama Shakes. Yeah, I mean, I've heard Alabama Shakes. They're great. And there's always influences and guys playing like Joe Bonamassa and that, they'll be, they'll have that stuff come around. Tedeschi. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I was in Nashville not too long ago, and all the acts that I saw, all the good acts that I saw were all women. And there's a lot of sameness to the singing, but occasionally you'd hear something that was a little bit different. And that singer from Alabama Shakes, oh, is she ever good? Love that stuff. Anyway, I think maybe some of you have heard the Sheepdogs. I like some of their stuff too, but again, it feels a little bit old. Hey, I'm anonymous. Welcome. Derek Trucks and Susan. I agree, Mark Siebes. Derek Trucks and Susan Tedeschi are amazing. Studio Deluxe. There's a lot of truth to the best. Studio Deluxe says the best guitar players are playing country. There's a lot of truth to that. I think one of the reasons is that country maintained studio players for a long time, and honestly, some of the top acts, the singers themselves, were incredible players. Brad Paisley is way up there. So is Keith Urban's a really good player too, but Brad Paisley is pretty amazing. And I mean, they're all influenced by Albert Lee, and then probably one of the best studio players who ever lived. Geez, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. The guy who does all the hybrid picking. Gosh, what is his name? Vince Gill is also very good. Brett, I think he's not quite at that level, but he's very good. Not Gatton. No, not Gatton. He's still living. Brent Mason. Thank you. Elf. Brent Mason. Brent Mason is an amazing, amazing player. His country play is incredible. He's a guy. He's a guy who played on all those '90s country records where it was crossing over into rock, and he has that claw finger picking, just incredible. But his jazz is equally good. He was heavily George Benson influenced, and he can bop with anybody. He's just an amazing player. His rock play is really good. I mean, he's just a total professional. It wouldn't shock me if he could play a decent classical piece as well. Yeah, I mean, and then all these guys kind of became not clones of his, but were heavily influenced, right? And so the next generation after Brent Mason had all of his chops down. So that's kind of the way it goes, right? I mean, when Hendrix came along, nobody played like Hendrix, but a generation later, everybody has those chops. They might not be able to play his ideas or to think of his ideas, but they can play his chops. Same with Van Halen. When Van Halen first came out in '78 on the record, I thought, what the hell is this? Nobody can play like this. But 5 years later, tons of players could play. Were doing all the tapping and stuff like that. Did he invent? And then there's this whole thing about, did he invent it? Well, he came up with his own style, so everybody copied. So yeah, Lenny Breau. Yeah, Lenny Breau's an amazing player. Yeah, the jazz player who died in a swimming pool. Lenny Breau is his name. Yeah, he and the guy Randy Bachman were neighbors. So Randy Bachman, for Looking Out for Number One and for I've Come Undone and for Undone, both of those were really influenced by Lenny Breau. Apparently, Lenny Breau did some lessons with him, and so he learned that from him. Yeah, it's Lenny Breau for sure. Yeah. Amazing player. 2-note chords, just incredible. A lot of 2-note chords. Great player. Yeah, James, I was totally blown away by Van Halen's first album too. I first heard it in a friend's basement. I heard lots of stuff in friends' basements. I heard Led Zeppelin 2. I'd never heard anything so heavy because I grew up on my cousin, the guy who sold me this guitar. He brought me up on the Beatles and Elton John. He said that he convinced me that those two were by far the best. And there was the Who also, but Elton John and the Beatles were the best. And so I listened to Elton John and the Beatles a lot. And I remember being in a friend's basement, hearing Led Zeppelin 2 for the first time and saying, oh my, I almost said what I actually said back then. Oh my God, I never heard anything like this. And then, getting Led Zeppelin 1 and 4 and listening to that to death. And then I remember in another friend's basement a few years later, I was playing in my first band. We were in the basement. We were playing Love Stinks. Remember that Jay Giles song? And somebody put You Really Got Me on the record, and it blew me away. And of course, after that is Eruption. So, oh no, Eruption is before that. So they must have played Ain't Talk About Love first, and then Eruption, and then You Really Got Me. And I was just like, I couldn't even think after that. I was like, what the hell did I just hear? Yeah. 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 I mean, Led Zeppelin was just like so heavy. Yeah, I know, Garrett, though, but I'm hearing this probably in 1978, right? So I'm hearing it 8 years later, or maybe 76. I don't know. Maybe 76 is when I first heard Led Zeppelin 2. So very heavy. Cream was very heavy too, but I didn't hear them until after I'd heard Led Zeppelin 2. Yeah, yeah. First three Van Halen albums. I love the fourth one. I think the fourth one's one of their best. So the first three, the first two are just Van Halen 1 and 2, and then Women, Children First. The fourth one is Fair Warning. Love that album. Great album. That was pan pop. That didn't have any pop songs, but that was Eddie's artistic album. After that, it was David Lee Roth vision, and then other people's vision. They became much more pop. The Kinks. Is that right, Sam W? The Kinks nailed Distortion? I don't remember that. Yes. Well, but GMAX says the most amazing thing about the Eruption is that the Strat tremolo stayed in tune after dive bombing. Yeah, it did. Now, I didn't have a tremolo, so I learned to play that on my Les Paul. I had a Les Paul. So there's a video of me actually doing that. I do Eruption, but I detune using the 6th string. And it's kind of fun. It's the only way I knew how to do it. Hated being a teenager in the 70s. Oh, well. I don't mind it. Sentimental thing from Motorhead. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I agree, James. All that stuff. It was an early Floyd Rose. That's exactly what it was. It was an early Floyd Rose. Link Ray was the first to use distortion. One of the first. Could be. I have to show that video. Oh, should I show my reaction to? I should show my reaction to it. It's kind of ugly, but yeah, you can look it up. I'll post it. It's still on. It's on YouTube. It's on the YouTubes. You can Google it and you'll see me playing it. But funny story. So this is a hilarious. I don't know if it's hilarious, but you take any gig when you're in high school, and one of my gigs was to play at McDonald's, and they had us playing in the back of McDonald's, and it was like, I don't know, some party that they had, festival or God knows what, hamburger sale. Anyway, we're playing in the back, and we're just supposed to be playing like happy songs, like, I don't even know, Having a Gala or Happy Birthday or stuff like that. And the band didn't know what to do because we didn't have any songs. So I started playing Eruption, and they just came back. They're like, "You get out!" I got kicked out of McDonald's playing Eruption. Anyway, funny. All right, let's see. Read a story where Davies took a knife to a speaker cone. Oh yeah, I heard that too. I didn't remember it was him. I've heard that story though. Really got me going is You Really Got Me is recognized as one of the first real possible riffs. Okay, makes sense. I love the way Van Halen plays that though. They play it in a much more guitaristic way than the quick moving on the left hand. I Feel Fine, yeah, supposed to be the first use of feedback. Yeah. Yeah, Garrett, they kicked me out. They just kind of pointed out at us, and I was the one who was signaled out. They're like, "You out." Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, KT. Tom Scholes. Yeah, he was I've been kicked out of worse places too. McDonald BR. Yeah. Better and worse. All right. Sounds good. Well, hey, I don't know if I'm fully happy to keep going with some of you guys if you want to keep going. I've been submitting yeah, I agree, David. I love the 70s. I love the 80s. Although the 80s, I didn't like the music as much. I saw a lot of 70s acts. Even when I was older, I still I like the songs from the 70s more. You know, anyway, uh, maybe we could talk about some other things in just a second, but I wanted to mention that I think some of you have noticed I've been doing a poll now, and the results from the poll, I think I asked, like, which 60s iconic rock song do you choose? A guitar-oriented song or guitar masterpiece do you choose, or something like that. I didn't want to say is the best or do you think is the best or anything like that. I just want to say, which one do you choose? Which one do you pick? And overwhelmingly, I think we had All Along the Watchtower, Gimme Shelter, the Stones, Heartbreaker, Led Zeppelin, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles with Eric Clapton, and Walk Don't Run by the Ventures. So 5 real different ones from the 60s. I think Walk Don't Run just makes it in. It's 1960. Which one do you choose? Overwhelmingly, I think 43% said All Along the Watchtower. That's probably the one that I would pick, although I love Gimme Shelter. I think it's one of the great guitar songs of all time. Just the way that it builds and it's so organic, the way those two guitars played together too. Yeah, so I was hoping that people would comment, hey, why didn't you put in Satisfaction? Or why didn't you put in this? I just picked 5. They only let you put 5. And so I wanted to get enough different ones to really get it there. Satisfaction's got a great riff. But anyway, so that was that. But overwhelmingly, people said number 1, All Along the Watchtower. Number 2 was While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Number 3 so far is a tie between Gimme Shelter and Heartbreaker. I think Heartbreaker was leading a little bit, had number 3 position for a while, and now Gimme Shelter has come back and picking up the rear as Walk Don't Run. But I got to tell you, that's a great song. Originally written by one of the absolute greatest guitarists to ever live, Johnny Smith, jazz player, just died last year, I think. A jazz player who tragically, I think his wife and son died tragically. And he made all of his money from the Ventures doing that single, and he retired. He retired and went fly fishing in Colorado for the rest of his life. Can't beat that. All right. He didn't want more money. He just retired. That was it. Kind of cool. 20 Beatles guitar songs in there. All right. So, yeah. So what are some other songs that you think are great songs from the 60s, great guitar songs? Like when you think of guitar and you think of 1960s, what are some great guitar songs from the 60s? I think Garrett already said Satisfaction. Definitely. I think the Stones get a bunch of them in there. I'm Going Home, Alvin Lee. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it's not Crossroads. Yeah. Or how about some other ones by Cream, like White Room or something like that? Fleetwood Mac, WS. Which Fleetwood Mac songs? I know I have my favorites, but which Fleetwood Mac songs of the 70s? So Garrett's saying Day Tripper, Satisfaction, Ticket to Ride, Magic Carpet Ride. Is that? I'm not thinking of that as like a guitar song. Is that? I'm trying to remember the guitar riff in that. I'm do 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 do. Kind of good. Oh, Nantucket Sleigh Ride. Yeah. Last Train to Clarksville. Oh, well, I was waiting for you to say that, WS, but I wanted you to say that. Awesome. I agree. Oh, well's a great one. Is Black Magic Woman the 60s? I don't, not Santana version, Fleetwood Mac version or Peter Green version. Is that the 60s? Need Your Love So Bad. Oh, great song. Helter Skelter, Revolution, Hey Bulldog, and I Love Her. Ain't Got Nothing Yet. I don't know that one. By the Blues Magoos. I'll have to check that one out, TBA. You really got me. Geert says, you really got me all day and all the night. You got it. Rhiannon. I don't think, is Rhiannon that old? I didn't know it was that old. Yeah, Nantucket Sleigh Ride by Mountain. Good one. Is what's the one? Oh, what's their famous one? Not Scenes from a Italian, Scenes from a Western. What's it called? I don't know if that's it. Green Manalishi. Mm-hmm. Here Comes the Sun. So David Smith. I agree. That's a great guitar song. Yeah, and Black Magic Woman is the 1960s. Okay, Garrett. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. Peter Green's version is really good. And of course, I think he's the writer. So Mary Clayton, isolated track, Gimme Shelter. Okay, will do, Stevie Ray. Here, There, and Everywhere is a nice composition. Supernatural, Mark Siebes says Supernatural by Peter Green. Yeah, you got it. Okay. I will listen to Mary Clayton. Yes, and so Elf, there's a lot of you're right, there's a lot of that 60s stuff like Soul Man, the Cropper. And I agree, that's great guitar work. Great guitar work. Oh, David Smith says Born to Be Wild. I agree. That's a good riff. Really good riff. Yeah, Rhiannon I thought was the 1970s, Garrett. I agree. But that is a nice riff for sure. Wipeout by the Safaris. Ooh, how about Miserlou? Dick Dale, yeah? Yeah, I agree though, Sam W. Wipeout is really cool. Or is it called Pipeline? Is that Pipeline's a different one, right? Pipeline is a cool one too. Do. That's that one, right? The Ventures. The Ventures had a lot of good stuff. Isn't Apache? Apache is from the 60s. That's a great song. That's a great guitar song. Surfing USA. Yeah, TBA. I agree. It's a nice little thing. The Pusher. God damn the Pusher. Yeah. The Pusher by Steppenwolf. Smoke on the Water. I think Smoke on the Water is the 70s. I'm pretty sure it's the 70s. Green Onions. I think of that as more of an organ riff than a guitar thing. Rock Around the Clock, I believe, is the 50s. I believe Rock Around the Clock is the 50s. Awesome solo. And great little horn stabs. Rhythm. Yep. Pushing Too Hard. I don't know that song, TBA. Yeah, it's the 50s for sure. That one's on my list of things to do really soon. So that one's there. WS says Ram Jam. I think that's like 73, 74 also. Black Betty is a really old song. It's an old blues song. But the version that Ram Jam did, I'm pretty sure is like 73, 74, 75. Vic Flick did the James Bond riff. Yeah, that's a cool one too, for sure. Yeah, Vic Flick. I didn't know that. All right. Classical Gas. Yeah, Classical Gas, I think, is the 60s. I agree. All right. I think you're right, James. James Dickinson says Classical Gas. Yep. I'd love to change the world. I don't know if that's 60s or just 1970s, but boy, it's close. And that does have a really cool riff. I mean, a lot of stuff came out in 1970, right? And 71. A lot of really great guitar stuff happened. And like, if you look at like 67 to 73, 74, so many good things happened in guitar there. Most of the Allman Brothers stuff is post 1960. Yeah, China Grove is 70s, early 70s. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's saying Hendrix songs. I mean, come on, Little Wing. How about Little Wing, man? How about Little Wing? Stepping Out. I don't know that one. McDon BR says Stepping Out. I don't know who that's by. Trog's Wild Thing. Okay. House of the Rising Sun. Yep. Now that's a real old version, but the Animals version's like 65. Nice. Yeah. Lots of really good Stone songs. So I think Let It Bleed is 69. That album is 1969. And so the Mick Taylor era started then. And so many songs off of that. I already mentioned Gimme Shelter, but so many songs off of that are just incredible. Maybe is Beggar's Banquet also from the 60s, or is that 1970s? Because that would have Street Fighting Man, which is really good, and maybe Sympathy for the Devil. Paul Revere and the Raiders did some good stuff. Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. Dazed and... Oh, of course. Siebes. Yeah, Led Zeppelin 1 and 2. So Dazed and Confused. How about Communication Breakdown? Whole Lot of Love? Not getting a lot of love for a Whole Lot of Love. Pretty good stuff. Thank you, G-Max, saying it's a Blues Breakers with Stepping Out. I'm anonymous. Thank you. Sam W. says, Wind Cries Mary. Boy, do I ever agree with you on that. I love, love, love that song. Love it. Love it. You know, Hey Joe has that opening as well, but I love Wind Cries Mary. It's just so beautiful. And the idea of how he does the, you know, in that song, you'll hear him doing minor major stuff. He and Clapton were really pioneers in doing a lot of that minor major blend. Yeah, Gimme Shelter, brilliant. I agree. Jack Flash is really good too. I agree. Steve Winwood, yeah, doesn't he do like Mr. Fantasy? Had a couple of things. Well, look, if we're talking blues, like McDon BR says, Hideaway by Freddie King. If we're going to include blues, I mean real blues. I guess John Mayall was real blues too, but I kind of think of him as transition to rock. Then there's so many, because there's so many great Freddie and Albert and B.B. King songs. I think that The Thrill Is Gone is a 60s song. And if you're not saying The Thrill Is Gone is one of the best guitar songs, I don't know what you're smoking. So I think The Thrill Is Gone 69. Born Under a Bad Sign, Albert King's version 67. So, yeah. Geert, Stairway is 71. So it didn't make the 60s. Yeah, and all that Albert Collins and Buddy Guy stuff. Yeah. I mean, Albert King, I think, is close enough to rock and roll that you could kind of consider. It's pretty darn close. Or funk. You know, Born on a Bad Sign's pretty funky. Pretty funky. Yeah. Nobody's saying Johnny Be Good because I think it's the 50s. Yeah. Yeah. Machine Gun, I think, David, Machine Gun is 1970. I think. I could be wrong on that, but I think it just came out in 1970. Might have been recorded earlier. So, yeah. I think War Pigs is also 1970s. Yeah. Okay. McDonald BR saying Machine Gun is 70s. But yeah, I mean, how about Axis Bold as Love? The song Axis Bold as Love by Hendrix. Great, great guitar song, right? I think so. Yeah. Great stuff. For sure. Forever Changes. Oh, Forever Changes? Who is that? Is that oh, that's Love. Yeah. I'll have to remember that one. I'll have to listen to it again. The Shadows did a bunch. Yeah. Changes on Band of Gypsies is great, but again, I think that is 1970. I think that's 1970. Oh, how about Taxman? Nobody. Oh, yeah, somebody's. You're right, chilling it, mentioning Robbie Krieger. Yeah, so many good things from Robbie Krieger. Interesting. Them changes, yeah. Taxman. Thank you, Garrett. I was just about to say, how about Taxman? But Taxman and Your Bird Can Sing, both really good guitar songs. Okay, I will listen to that Robbie Love. I will listen to that. Or I will listen to the Love song, Forever Changes. Forever Changes is the album, yeah. Okay, Revolver. Revolver is a great guitar album. She Said's got a great riff in it. And that Love Me Two Times is a good riff. I agree. Oh my goodness. Garrett is mentioning Dear Prudence and Julia. I think Dear Prudence is one of the best, is a really nice guitar riff. Hey, how about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? That's a really good guitar. Is that guitar or is that something else? I can't remember. It's a really good riff anyway. I think, or yeah, She Said. I love that. Love how it just gets in your brain. Silver Messenger Service, 1960s guitar band. I am not familiar. I know the name Nemo Unknown, but I don't know. I don't know that group. Hey, here's one for Garrett. How about Two of Us? How about the Two of Us off of Let It Be? That's a nice guitar song, isn't it? Garrett does a fantastic version of it. It's really nice. Garrett, I totally enjoyed watching that video. It really gave me a kick. It sounded great. Really loved it. All right. Well, that's good. Well, it's still up. It's still up. I'm anonymous. You can see it, unless he just took it down. But anyway, okay. So, anyway, we'll come up with another. We'll come up with another poll or two on this for next week. But yeah, lots of good ideas from the '60s. I'm definitely more of a '70s person, because if I think of some of the stuff that I really love the most, I think of the Allman Brothers at the Fillmore East. I do think of Hendrix, and he's the '60s to me. I'm surprised not as many people said Cream stuff, but I think of Frampton, I think of Santana, I think of Van Halen later, and yeah. Oh yeah, well, Dig a Pony is great guitar song for sure. And of course, the '60s were the Beatles. The Beatles were all there, and it was, it was guitar-oriented stuff for sure. But I just think of the '70s more, when the compositions became from the influence of the Beatles and the Stones and the Beach Boys, became much more complex, and the guitar playing became more interesting, at least to me. I love the early blues stuff, though. It still gets you and wrenches you, right? I mean, there's nothing like an AC/DC song or early Led Zeppelin. It just kind of twists you and gets you going. But still, there's something between, the two chords, AC/DC song, and Yes. There's that medium in there where you've got the Beatles and the Stones and Frampton and so many great acts living in the Allman Brothers, and so many great acts living in between there. That really did it well, I think, in the '70s. So, all right. Yeah, there's so many great. Oh, I mean, that's another one we could talk about. What were some of the great AC/DC riffs? And somebody mentioned the Doobies. The Doobies had great riffs as well. Yeah. Oh, Octopus's Garden. Interesting. Beating Around the Bush. Riff Raff is really good too. Oh, Riff Raff's a great riff. Or how about for those about to rock, or Hell's Bells, or Have a Drink on Me, or so many. I mean, even the simple ones, Highway to Hell, the well-known ones, Back in Black, those, so many great riffs just created by Angus and the boys. I'm trying to think of, what was the one they used for Iron Man? What was the one they used for Iron Man? AC/DC riff. Do 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 do. Whole Lot of Rosie. Yeah. Thunderstruck. Oh, I didn't do that one. That's got a good. Oh, I did do that one. It's got a good drone, right? I'm trying to remember. I forgot even 30 minutes ago. You Shook Me All Night Long. Yeah, for sure. Shoot to Thrill. Thank you, Ron. That's the one I was trying to think of. Shoot to Thrill. Doesn't that? It's got a great opening. Yeah, I love that opening. Down. Great. Yeah, and I know people love the Bon Scott era, and they talk about Bon Scott was the real deal, and he was. But you got to give your propers to Brian Johnson. I mean, he really knew how to sing AC/DC. And think about that. He had to go on and fill Bon Scott's shoes, and then he did, and they had this they got even bigger. They got a lot bigger. So anyway, yeah, Malcolm created those riffs. Yep, he did. Malcolm was an awesome player. I mean, think, he and if you think about guys that can create just great rock riffs, there aren't that many that created them consistently and over. Malcolm was one. Keith Richards is obviously another obvious standout. Great at creating riffs, and oddly, Ron Wood was another guy who was good at creating them as well. So they had both. But I mean, just think of how many recognizable riffs the Stones created: Jumping Jack Flash and Satisfaction and Painted Black, and and Beast of Burden, and oh wow, we forgot about John Fogerty and Creedence, didn't we? Sam W. bringing that back. Fortunate Son. Yeah, that's a very recognizable riff. John Fogerty's another guy who creates really simple riffs, and he's great at it. And somehow it's that vibe is just really good. Really good. That's a great one, Sam. Totally missed that one. Buffalo Springfield is Something's Happening Here, that song. I have to say, another person who was great at creating riffs, or two other people that were great at creating riffs, were Neil Young. Neil Young came up with a lot of really great riffs, and Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell early on created a lot of really nice riffs in her songs, and they're all guitar oriented. They're really inventive. Joni Mitchell was great. She, great inventiveness on the guitar. Yep. Run Through the Jungle. Yeah, for sure. Run Through the Jungle is great. Yeah, Joni Mitchell used all those open tunings, and she had really good rhythmic stuff. And then, but she also had good arpeggio stuff, and her songwriting is just really good too. Hard to imitate her singing. It's so, not just because the voice is weird, but the rhythms are really tough. Yeah, and then Neil Young. I mean, they're not so rockin'. I guess some of them are, like Hey Hey My, or Powderfinger, or somebody mentioned Heart of Gold, or Like a Hurricane. Tonight's the Night. I mean, he could write the non-riff oriented songs like After the Gold Rush, but his riffs were really good. Needle and the Damage Done, Comes a Time. So many good ones. Harvest Moon. Even, he does a lot of pretty songs. They're not rocking like AC/DC, a lot of them, but they're riff oriented. He'll come up with a riff and he plays it and does that. Yep. Pocahontas, Bryan Adams. David Smith, you are right about that. He came up with a lot of good riff-oriented stuff. Cuts Like a Knife and Summer of '69, and that it really was good. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Bob Dylan, of course. Yeah, you're right, Sam. And Ron Shack mentions Tom Petty had some nice riffs even through the '80s. He did a lot of really good riffs from Tom Petty. I agree. Really good stuff. Tom Petty is the real deal. And yeah, I agree, Robbie. Neil Young. I don't think anybody in rock has had as many incarnations as Neil Young. You know, he did the folk stuff, he did the rock stuff, he did the super group stuff, he did the grunge stuff, he did rockabilly, he did country, you know, and he was successful at all those things and changed himself each time, much to David Geffen's chagrin. He had to sue, you know, he had to sue David Geffen, and they were friends, right? And like David Geffen hired him to do something, and he said, "All right," and he did like a couple of rockabilly albums. David Geffen said, "What the blank? You know, I thought you were going to do what you used to do and be successful for me." He's like, "Nah, you hired an artist. You got an artist. Sorry, that's what I wanted to do." All right, let's see. Sloppy but great. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, of course, Neil Young was not a technical wizard. That's for sure. Mike Campbell. Yeah, Mike Campbell is great. Definitely a master. Spinal Tap. Nemo and Note says Spinal Tap. Yeah, Nigel Tufnell, my favorite guitarist. Nigel Tufnell. Yeah. Mr. Soul. Is that right? Yeah. David St. Hubbins. I don't know. I'm more partial to Nigel, but is that right that Neil Young played lead guitar in the Monkees song? Wow. Crowded House has that one. So David Smith is saying Crowded House. So Crowded House has that one great song, and I think that I know of, Don't Dream It's Over. I used to play that all the time in the coffee houses, went over big. But what was it? Split Ends was the people from Split Ends, and they had a few other hits. I just don't remember any Crowded House hits other than that. Long Live the Hip. All right. Yeah, I must have missed something. Hopefully, and Citizen B says Neil Young's Mirror Ball is full of great riffs. You know, I don't remember that. Jeez, I gotta know. I mean, he's got so much music. I don't know. I used to listen to Decade all the time, and I haven't heard it in a while. But and Zuma, Decade and Zuma, over and over and over, and On the Beach, and Harvest. Okay, I listened to a lot of Neil Young when I was younger. All right. Yeah, so I want to mention this because I mentioned it in my Fender thing, that notice I can put Fender here and I'm not at all worried about it with this. But so many people have done these videos on Gibson. I couldn't resist when I was showing a Fender to actually say, "Oh, you know what? I could say something about Gibson." But and Steve Ray's accent, "I Got You," Split Ends, big hit. I think I don't know what Split Ends did, but Crowded House had "Don't Dream It's Over," but it was the same guys, I think, who played in both those bands. After the Gold Rush, yeah, it's only the castle's burning, and of course the song After the Gold Rush. So many great ones on After the Gold Rush. So WS says the whole Agnesi Gibson thing struck me as more than a little Spinal Tap. I think that's a great segue into that. What is up with Gibson? I mean, that's just crazy, isn't it? Did anybody see that video? It was so ridiculous. I can't believe that Like, who released that video? There's no way a real marketing department would have done that. And Gibson's like a real company, right? They're not tiny. I don't get it. I mean, I've worked for big companies and small companies and all the rest, but just crazy. Yeah. All right. Split Ends has the ultimate Stevie Ray. Okay. Favorite album after the Gold Rush. Okay. Saw Split Ends. Geert Saw Split Ends has an ultimate should have been Scooby Doo chase song. I Got You. Don't know that. Steve Cropper's licks on Sitting on the Dock of the Bay are incredibly perfect. Agree. Steve Cropper can't be better. Can't be a better player than Steve Cropper. Always played the best thing that could have worked in the song. How can you be better? I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine a lot of those songs without Steve Cropper's licks. I mean, think about Soul Man, right? Isn't that Steve Cropper? I think it is. Oh, Southern Man's on After the Gold Rush. That's right. So Citizen B, I just bought it. Citizen B says I just bought a Gibson 60s standard and it's awesome. So is that a standard Les Paul? I'll ask, is that a standard Les Paul? I'm guessing it is. I have 3 Gibson guitars. I had 4. I had a SG. I sold my SG. Didn't want to part with it, but I wanted a Telly. So I bought a Telly and then I sold the Telly. Anyway, long story. I had an SG. I have a 335. That's probably my favorite guitar of all time, including this Strat and all that. And I have a gold top Les Paul studio. It's a 70s tribute. People think it's a deluxe. It's a 70s tribute, so it's not an expensive guitar. And I have a Gibson Melody Maker. I love them all, and I love Gibson guitars. They feel like home to me. They really do. And I feel I can make my voice heard on it. I feel like I'm really bringing out who I am on the Gibson plate and stuff. But I just don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And everybody admits they're overpriced. I mean, they got lucky, and it's sort of like Harley Davidson's, right? For a long time, Harley was able to sell bikes that were overpriced because there was a cliche or a cachet on owning a Harley. What people say is the rich, the wealthy dentist crowd or something, a retired dentist crowd or something like this. In marketing, people say that. And Gibson was able to get that. So do they make some great guitars? Yeah, they do. But anyway, they came out with all that gimmicky stuff, and then why are they bashing their customers? I just don't get it. This doesn't make any sense. It is illegal to sell my SG. I promise I won't do it anymore. Tom Petty, hell yeah. Steve Cropper, hell yeah. Yeah. Again, I love Les Pauls. I have to say, as I've gotten older, the only Les Paul I can take is one with a weight relief body with the either the Florentine cut or the what do they call it? All I can think of is condensed, and I know that's wrong. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time remembering the chambered body, a chambered body. But that relieves the weight on it, and my gold top is just around 8 pounds, a little bit less, which is wonderful. I pick up a regular Les Paul now, and it feels like, oh my God, I can't even lift it. But just how things happen. Randy Bachman apparently converted to playing a Strat from his Les Paul because of that. Doctor said, hey, you want to fix your back, you're going to have to play a lighter guitar. So anyway, kind of interesting. Have I watched the Rolling Thunder Review Bob Dylan thing on Netflix? I haven't. I didn't even know it was there, Sam. I'm going to watch it. I am going to watch it. In fact, I'm going to write it down so I can watch it. Bob Dylan on Netflix. Randy B is now into Russian guitars. What? No kidding. ELO is another 70s band. Yep. He sold all of his Gretches. Interesting. Always amazes me when sellers out there tout the fact the guitar they're selling weighs a lot as if it's super heavy. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I feel the same way when people say, oh, this is a real Les Paul because it's 12 pounds. I'm like, not for me. I can't really hear the difference between a 12-pound chunk of wood and an 8-pound chunk of wood. Sound the same to me. I mean, look, if it's an acoustic, the wood, sure, I think it makes a huge difference. I'm not of I do have a degree in physics, so I should know exactly if it makes a difference, but I'm not that interested to really research to see whether it does. To my ears, it doesn't. So if to my ears I can't hear a difference, why do I bother? On an acoustic, of course I can tell. You can tell whether it's a spruce top or a cedar top on an acoustic. That or rosewood back and sides, you can tell. But not on electric to me. So it's all the pickups to me. You put different pickups in there, it's going to sound different. Yeah, I mean, David Smith mentions ELO. I don't think of guitar when I think of ELO. That's the only thing. I love ELO. One of my favorites, Jeff Lynne, I think is one of the greatest songwriters and singers and producers of all time. Few people know like how much he has really done, but not a guitar-oriented thing, in my opinion. But I love it. It's too bad they lip synced, right? They got caught lip syncing. That kind of ended ELO. Idiots. They shouldn't have done that. Oh well. They created some great music though. Have I heard Trisha Yearwood's version of Bob Dylan's To Make You Feel My Love? I have not. Check it out. I like Trisha Yearwood. Jeff Lynne is still touring. Yes, he is. I missed him this time. I really wanted to see him. I mean, the way Jeff Lynne could just be at the edge of emotional breakdown in his songs, but not break down. He keeps it together, but he's at the edge. You can listen to that. He knew how to do it. But I mean, I think his favorite singers were the guys like, Roy Orbison, right? Probably one of the greatest singers ever. New Les Paul's 9.4 pounds. See, there you go. So that 9.4 is not, it's doable. 9.4 isn't 12, and it's not 11 either. 9.4 is doable. Yeah, and it does. It has great sustain. Les Pauls have way better sustain. But you know what? So do Paul Reed Smiths. And Paul Reed Smiths don't always weigh 12 pounds to do it. And a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, talked. Paul Reed Smith is a client of his. He's a patent attorney, and Paul Reed Smith is a client of his. And because Paul Reed Smith's a scientist, and so he's got all these different things that not related to music or guitar. And but they were talking guitars because he's also a guitar player. This friend of mine, and he said that from Paul Reed Smith's part of the story, it's the way that you dry the neck that makes all the difference in the sustain. So he dries his necks. They take 6 months to dry. That's what he said. 6 months to prepare the neck. But he said you get all that moisture out, you get all of it gone, and the guitar will sustain forever. But you got to get it out the right way. Interesting. All right. Yep. Yeah. All right. Good PBS show. Gary Moore. Magic Chorus. Oh, so I'm gonna get caught up here. Steve Ray, Traveling Willbillies. George Harrison, Tom Petty, Eric Clapton, and Friends. All right. Okay, John Lennon on bass. Oh yeah, I've seen that. The Magic Circus, Sam W. That's good. All right. Gary Moore on one of them. They're called Dirty Mac. Yeah, Dirty Mac. PRS guitars. Yeah. Now, not all PRS guitars are light, so I want to make sure people know that. Not all of them are. I have one that's too heavy for me. It's a 10. It's about it's about 9.5, 10 pounds. For me, that's a little bit too heavy. But and it's got a thick maple cap on it. That's what does it. Does it make the sustain anymore? I doubt it, but maybe. Yeah. I think you're right, though. I'm anonymous. It may be the mojo, that maple cap. It's a great guitar. I have to say the one that both my Gibson Les Paul that has a maple cap, and then this one right here. This PRS Tremonti has a maple cap, and you can see it's a heavier guitar. It's got the tummy cut and all that, but it's a heavier guitar. And it's got great pickups. I put in these Mojo Tone pickups. They're incredible. Great price for Seymour Duncan quality. Just incredible. Yep. And then you compare it to this Strat, which is a thinner guitar. This is probably a 7-pound guitar, between 6.5 and 7. And my other boutique Strat, that's under 6 pounds. That is an unbelievably comfortable guitar. And it has great sustain because unlike this one, which is a bolt-on, right? It's the normal Strat neck. That one's a glued-in neck, and the upper fret recess, access is just incredible. Love it. All right, Nemo. See you later. Thanks for showing up. I think I'm gonna head off. We'll call it a day today, gang. Thanks a lot for sharing your Sunday with me. Really appreciate you being here. We'll come up with some other questions for next time. And thanks for everybody. Thanks for I don't think we named a quiz winner, but you're all winners in my book. All right, that was lame. But anyway, you are. And I really appreciate you showing up. Okay. See you, I'm Anonymous. See you, Garrett. See you, TBA. See you, Nemo Unknown. See you, Elf. See you, Matt. I don't know if he still see you doing intros. Yeah, well, we did a bunch of intros and other ones, but yeah, we can talk about that. And David, if you have ideas for intros that might be cool to do in the lessons, you can please put them in the regular comments to this video, and all for it. All right. Everyone gets that's right. You all get participation trophies in today's quiz. Steve Ray, Robbie, great to see you today. And I know Gib and anybody else who's still on and anybody else who was on. Happy 4th, everybody in the States on Thursday, and enjoy your week. I'm out of here. We'll see you on down the road. Oh, Ron, I didn't end it yet. Don't forget the modes. Got it. I'm going to have some pie a la mode on Thursday. Oh, is that what you were talking about? Something else. Talk about modes. Yes, we'll talk about modes. Okay. Happy 4th, everybody. And if you're elsewhere, happy Thursday. Oh, Canada Day tomorrow. Okay. Happy Canada Day.